Kadasa Gurunatha Bhatita Bhava Kadasa Gurunatha Bhatita Bhava Dahamara Bhata Juga Agavi Ekakale Godagelo Godanata Ekakale Godagelo Godanata Ashame Kodibo Mata Anale Pashivo Ashame Kodibo Mata Anale Pashivo Goranga Mera Vidhi Kote Gile Pavo Kote Gile Pavo Goranga Gunera Nidhi Kote Gile Pavo Sheshaba Shangira Jekhaila Vila Songa Jekhaila Vila Sheshongano Bhaya Konde Narotamo Sheshongano Bhaya Konde Narotamo Jayanilo Vimalano Karuna Praju Nena Prabhu Bhutagelo Acharya Sadhu Nena Prabhu Bhutagelo Acharya Sadhu Jai Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Prabhu, Jaya Vaishnava Prabhu. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who is filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where are my Sarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to attain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. And where is that great Acharya, Srila Madhavendra Puri, gone? Hare Krishna. Okay, let me see if I can turn this thing off. Technology is so great when it works. So today on the Vaishnava calendar is the Disappearance Day of Srila Madhavendra Puri. Srila Madhavendra Puri ki jai. And there is not much historical evidence or accounts of the life of Madhavendra Puri, aside from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. That is the main source of biographical information of Srila Madhavendra Puri, although I was able to glean a few tidbits here and there that he appeared in the year 1420 and disappeared in the year of 1490, living some 70 years. And he is the disciple of Sri Lakshmipati Tirtha, who is a Vaishnava sannyasi in the line of Sri Madhavacharya. And also the members of the Vallabha Sampradaya, the Pushti Marg, they lay some claim to Madhavendra Puri. And indeed, the Sri Nathji deity, who is a very famous deity that many Gujarati people worship, and is also worshipped in some of our ISKCON temples here in America, where you have big Gujarati congregations, like Tawako, New Jersey, I know they have Sri Nathji, and Phoenix, our Phoenix temple. That is the Gopal deity of Sri Madhavendra Puri, Sri Nathji, who resides in Nathdwar and is the principal deity of the Pushti Marg and the Vallabha Sampradaya. So there is a connection there. That deity was moved from Govardhan Hill to Nathdwar at some point. And Vallabha was a contemporary of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who chastised him for showing some pride in thinking that his commentary on Bhagavatam was superior to that of Sridhar Swami, who's known as the Adi commentator, the original commentator on Bhagavatam. So there's that. And it was Sri Vallabhacharya who spoke in Chaitanya Charitamrita that famous verse to Lord Chaitanya, Kali Kalara Dharma Krishna Nam Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tar Pravartana. that the fundamental religion for this age of Kali is the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. And no one can spread the Sankirtan movement, the chanting of Hare Krishna, unless he's empowered by Krishna. Krishna Shakti, Vinanahi Tarpavartana. And of course, he was referring to and speaking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not simply empowered by Krishna, he is Krishna himself. And Advaita Acharya called him down because he said, human society has deviated from devotional service so much so that only you, my Lord Krishna, are capable of reviving religion in human society. Therefore, I am calling you to appear. So, that is the connection between Vallabha Acharya and Madhavendra Puri is the deity of Srinathji, who is referred to as the Gopal deity. And we're going to hear the history of the Gopal deity from this account. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he took sannyas, he had received instructions from his mother to make his headquarters at Jagannath Puri. She didn't expect him to stay near her, although she would have preferred that, Mother Sachi. But she knew he has taken sannyas, he's going to go. So her request or instruction was that he make his headquarters at Jagannath Puri, where the Bengali Vaishnavas would come and go every year for the Ratha Yatra. So they would travel to Ratha Yatra, just like we get all the devotees together in the van and go to LA for Ratha Yatra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left the house of Advaita Acharya and proceeded, right after he had taken sannyas, to Jagannath Puri, along with Lord Nityananda and a couple of other associates, to get out Pandit. And then they came to the village of Remuna, which is in Odisha now. And we'll read a little bit of this. The deity of Gopinath in the temple of Remuna was very attractive. Lord Chaitanya visited the temple and offered his obeisances with great devotion. This is chapter 4 of the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is entitled The Devotional Service of Madhavendra Puri. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his obeisances at the lotus feet of the Gopinath deity, the helmet of flowers on the head of Gopinath fell down and landed on the head of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the deity's helmet fell upon his head, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very pleased. And thus he chanted and danced in various ways with his devotee. All the servants of the deity were struck with wonder due to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intense love, his exquisite beauty, and his transcendental qualities. Because of their love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they served him in many ways, and that night the Lord stayed at the temple of Gopinath. The Lord remained there because he was very eager to receive the remnants of sweet rice offered to the Gopinath deity, having heard a narration from his spiritual master, Ishwara Puri, of what had once happened there. That deity was known widely as Shirachora Gopinath, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his devotees the story of how the deity became so famous. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard the story of Madhavendra Puri from his spiritual master, Ishwara Puri, who was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Another famous disciple of Madhavendra Puri is Sri Advaita Acharya, the incarnation of Mahavishnu, who propitiated Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear in this world. And so Madhavendra Puri is the disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha. And Lakshmipati Tirtha was the sannyasi who came to Ekachakra Dham, the village of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and took him away from his parents when he was 12 years old. course, they gave him, because they gave their word that they would serve Lakshmipati Tirtha, we will give you anything you like, I'll take the boy. Nitai. No, not Nitai. Life and soul. So, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Balaram Hoilo Nitai, who is also Lord Balaram, went with Lakshmipati Tirtha on pilgrimage all over India, which is that is the business of the sannyasi, traveling and preaching by foot all over India. Imagine Maharaj, no credit cards, no airplanes. We cannot imagine. Srila Prabhupada has demonstrated what it is to be a jet-age Parivrajak Acharya. So just as Lord Balaram had gone on pilgrimage all over India during the Kurukshetra war, not wanting to disturb Krishna's affection for the Pandavas and not wanting to take the side of his own disciple Duryodhana, who was his student in the art of club fighting, Lord Balaram withdrew. He remained neutral, and he went on pilgrimage, on Padayatra, all over India. So in the same way, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, in his pastimes, he did the same thing. He went on pilgrimage all over India with Lakshmipati Tirtha. And apparently he was initiated by Lakshmipati Tirtha. Although some say he was initiated by Madhavendra Puri, but that doesn't really seem to fit. And then the two encountered each other, Madhavendra Puri and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, while on pilgrimage, and had a very indescribable, emotional, tear-filled encounter at that time. And it is Madhavendra Puri who is credited with introducing the worship of Radha and Krishna in the mood of conjugal love, in separation, into our sampradaya. So he's very significant a person. Also, there is one account that Madhavendra Puri had visited the house of Jagannatha Mishra and Mother Sachi Devi, the parents of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, previous to his appearance, and had tasted an unprecedented curry made of banana flowers that was prepared by Mother Sachi. Unprecedented. And he remembered that banana flower curry. So there's this relationship between Madhavendra Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he's Param Guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's the Guru, then the Param Guru, which means the grandfather spiritual master. Just like in deity worship, you have Aim Guruve Namaha and Om Param Guruve Namaha, where you worship the spiritual master with the mantra and then the grand spiritual master. And then for the great grandfather spiritual master, Om Param Param Guruve Namaha. At least the way I was taught. Perhaps if you go to Mayapur Gurukul, you may know something different that I don't know. You may know many things that I don't know. So let's continue with this text. So we have some context of who is Madhavendra Puri. This is a great Vaishnava Acharya in our line. Formerly, the deity, that is Shri Chora Gopinath, had stolen a pot of sweet rice from Madhavendra Puri, and therefore he became very famous as the Lord who stole the sweet rice. Once Madhavendra Puri traveled to Vrindavan, where he came upon the hill known as Govardhan. Madhavendra Puri was almost mad in his ecstasy of love of Godhead, and he did not know whether it was day or night. Sometimes he stood up, and sometimes he fell to the ground. He could not discriminate whether he was in a proper place or not. After circumambulating the hill, Madhavendra Puri went to Govinda Kund and took his bath. He then sat beneath a tree to take his evening rest. While he was sitting beneath a tree, an unknown cowherd boy came with a pot of milk, placed it before Madhavendra Puri, and smiling, addressed him as follows. "Oh, Madhavendra Puri, please drink the milk I have brought. Why don't you beg some food to eat? What kind of meditation are you undergoing?" When he saw the beauty of that boy, Madhavendra Puri became very satisfied. Hearing his sweet words, he forgot all hunger and thirst. Madhavendra Puri said, "Who are you? Where do you reside? And how did you know that I was fasting?" The boy replied, "Sir, I am a cowherd boy, and I reside in this village. In my village, no one fasts. In this village, a person can beg food from others and thus eat. Some people drink only milk, but if a person does not ask anyone for food, I supply him all his eatables. The women who come here to take water saw you, and they supplied me with this milk and sent me to you." The boy continued, "I must go very soon to milk the cows, but I shall return and take back this milk pot from you." Saying this, the boy left the place. Indeed, he suddenly could be seen no more, and Madhavendra Puri's heart was filled with wonder. After drinking the milk, Madhavendra Puri washed the pot and put it aside. Notice how clean and pucka he is. Sometimes I see plates left back there after breakfast by the thing unwashed. Remember Madhavendra Puri and wash. He looked toward the path, but the boy never returned. Madhavendra Puri could not sleep. He sat and chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And at the end of the night, he dozed a little, and his external activity stopped. In a dream, Madhavendra Puri saw the very same boy. The boy came before him and, holding his hand, took him to a bush in the jungle. The boy showed Madhavendra Puri the bush and said, "I reside in this bush, and because of this, I suffer very much from severe cold, rain showers, wind, and scorching heat. Please bring the people of the village and get them to take me out of this bush. Then have them situate me nicely on top of the hill. Please construct a temple on top of that hill," the boy continued, "and install me in that temple. After this, wash me with large quantities of cold water so that my body may be cleansed. For many days I have been observing you, and I was wondering, when will Madhavendra Puri come here to serve me? I have accepted your service due to your ecstatic love for me. Thus I shall appear, and by my audience, all fallen souls will be delivered. My name is Gopal. I am the lifter of Govardhan Hill. I was installed by Vajra, and here I am the authority." Vajra was the grandson of Krishna, who installed many, many deities in the Vrindavan area. A great devotee and establisher of deity worship and temples. When the Muslims attacked, the priest who was serving me hid in this bush in the jungle. Then he ran away out of fear of the attack. Since the priest went away, I have been staying in this bush. It is very good that you have come here. Now just remove me with great care." After saying this, the boy disappeared. Then Madhavendra Puri woke up and began to consider his dream. Madhavendra Puri began to lament, "I saw Lord Krishna directly, but I could not recognize him." Thus he fell down on the ground in ecstatic love. Madhavendra Puri cried for some time. But then he fixed his mind on executing the order of Gopal. Thus he became tranquil. After taking his morning bath, Madhavendra Puri entered the village and assembled all the people. Then he spoke as follows. "The proprietor of this village, Govardhan Dhari, is lying in the bushes. Let us go there and rescue him from that place. The bushes are very dense and we will not be able to enter the jungle. Therefore, take choppers and spades to clear the way." After hearing this, all the people accompanied Madhavendra Puri with great pleasure. According to his directions, They cut down bushes, cleared a path, and entered the jungle. When they saw the deity covered with dirt and grass, they were all struck with wonder and pleasure. After they had cleansed the body of the deity, some of them said, "This deity is very heavy. No single person can move him." Since the deity was very heavy, some of the stronger men assembled to carry him to the top of the hill. Madhavendra Puri also went there. A big stone was made into a throne, and the deity was installed upon it. Another big stone was placed behind the deity for support. All the Brahmin priests of the village gathered together with 9 water pots, and water from Govinda Kund Lake was brought there and filtered. When the deity was being installed, 900 pots of water were brought from Govinda Kund. There were musical sounds of bugles and drums and the singing of women. During the festival, at the installation ceremony, some people sang and some danced. All the milk, yogurt, and clarified butter in the village were brought to the festival. These are cow herdsmen. So what do they have? Milk products in profusion. Milk, yogurt, clarified butter, burfi, sandesh, rasgulla, everything milk. And then they also have grains, particularly wheat. Various foods and sweetmeats, as well as other kind of presentations, were brought there. I am unable to describe all of these. The villagers brought a large quantity of tulsi leaves, flowers, and various kinds of garments. Then Madhavendra Puri personally began the Abhishek. After all inauspicious things were driven away by the chanting of the mantra, the deity's bathing ceremony started. First, the deity was massaged with a large quantity of oil, so that his body became very glossy. After the first bathing, further bathings were conducted with Panchagavya and then Panchamrita. Then the Mahasnan was performed with ghee and water, which had been brought in 100 pots. Maybe a purport to this one. Let's see. No. After the first bathing, further bathings were conducted with Panchagavya and then with Panchamrita. Then the Mahasnan was performed with ghee and water, which had been brought in 100 pots. This is how you do things. This is the good old days. Imagine the potter in that village who made all those pots for use for the service of the deity. After the Mahasnan was finished, the deity was again massaged with scented oil and his body made very glossy. Then the last bathing ceremony was performed with scented water kept within a conch shell. After the body of the deity was cleansed, he was dressed very nicely with new garments. Then sandalwood pulp, tulsi garlands, and other fragrant flower garlands were placed upon the body of the deity. After the bathing ceremony was finished, incense and lamps were burned, and all kinds of food offered before the deity. These foods included yogurt, milk, and as many sweetmeats as were received. The deity was first offered many varieties of food, then scented drinking water in new pots, and then water for washing the mouth. Finally, pan mixed with a variety of spices was offered. After the last offering of tambula and pan, boga artik was performed. Finally, everyone offered various prayers and then obeisances, falling flat before the deity in full surrender. As soon as the people of the village had understood that the deity was going to be installed, they brought their entire stocks of rice, dal, and wheat flour. They brought such large quantities that the entire surface of the top hill was filled, the top of the hill. When the villagers brought their stock of rice, dal, and flour, the potters of the village brought all kinds of cooking pots. And in the morning, the cooking began. 10 brahmanas cooked the food greens, and 5 brahmanas cooked both dry and liquid vegetables. The vegetable preparations were made from various kinds of spinach, roots, and fruits collected from the forest, and someone made bhava and bodhi by mashing dal. In this way, the brahmanas prepared all kinds of food. 5 to 7 men prepared a huge quantity of chapatis. ghee jai, which were completely covered with ghee, as were all the vegetables, rice, and dal. All the cooked rice was stacked on palasha leaves, which were on new cloths spread over the ground. Around the stack of cooked rice were stacks of chapatis, and all the vegetables and liquid vegetable preparations were placed in different pots and put around them. Pots of yogurt, milk, buttermilk, and shikarini, sweet rice, cream, and solid cream were placed along the vegetables. In this way, the Annakuta ceremony was performed, and Madhavendra Puri Goswami personally offered everything to Gopal. Now this is how you do a festival. This is the bona fide method. Many water pots were filled with scented water for drinking, and Lord Sri Gopal, who had been hungry for many days, ate everything offered to him. Although Sri Gopal ate everything offered, still, by the touch of his transcendental hand, everything remained as before. How Gopal ate everything while the food remained the same was transcendently perceived by Madhavendra Puri Goswami. Nothing remains a secret to the devotees of the Lord. The wonderful festival and installation of Sri Gopalji was arranged in one day. Certainly all this was accomplished by the potency of Gopal. No one but a devotee can understand this. So we offer everything we cook to Krishna, and then the restaurant customers come and take, and they'd have no idea, not having heard this narration, how this transcendental process is going on by the potency of Krishna, involved in a transaction of love with his devotees. Madhavendra Puri offered water to Gopal for washing his mouth, and he gave him betel nuts to chew. Then while Artik was performed, all the people chanted, Jai, Jai. Arranging for the Lord's rest, Sri Madhavendra Puri brought a new cot, and over this he made a new bedspread and thus made the bed ready. A temporary temple was constructed by covering the bed all around with a straw mattress. Thus there was a bed and a straw mattress to cover it. After the Lord was laid down to rest on this bed, Madhavendra Puri gathered all the brahmanas who had prepared the prasadam and said to them, Now feed everyone sumptuously, from the children on up to the aged. All the people gathered there sat down to honor the prasadam, and by they took food. All the brahmanas and their wives were fed first. Those who took prasadam included not only the people of Govardhan village, but also those who came from other villages. They also saw the deity of Gopal and were offered prasadam to eat. Seeing the influence of Madhavendra Puri, who single-handedly arranged this whole thing for the service of Gopal, all the people gathered there were struck with wonder. Imagine how effulgent he was and what a commanding presence he had. They saw that the Annakut ceremony, which had been performed before during the time of Krishna, during the Govardhan Leela, were now taking place again by the mercy of Sri Madhavendra Puri. All the brahmanas present on that occasion were initiated by Madhavendra Puri into the Vaishnava cult, and Madhavendra Puri engaged them in different types of service. Oh, what a wondrous personality. He arranged this whole festival, and then he initiated all the brahmanas into our sampradaya. When it was advertised throughout the country that Lord Gopal had appeared atop Govardhan Hill, word spreads, all the people from neighboring villages came to see the deity. One village after another was pleased to beg Madhavendra Puri to allow them one day to perform the Annakut ceremony. Thus, day after day, the Annakut ceremony was performed for some time. Madhavendra Puri did not eat anything throughout the day, but at night, after laying the deity down to rest, he took a milk preparation. The next morning, the rendering of service to the deity began again, and the people from one village arrived with all kinds of food grains. The inhabitants of each village brought to the deity of Gopal as much food grains, ghee, yogurt and milk as they had in their village. The ideal place to execute Krishna consciousness is Vrajabhumi or Vrindavan, where the people are naturally inclined to love Krishna, and Krishna is naturally inclined to love them. Throngs of people came from different villages to see the deity of Gopal, and they took Mahaprasadam sumptuously. When they saw the super excellent form of Lord Gopal, all their lamentation and unhappiness disappeared. So after some time, then Madhavendra Puri had another dream in which Gopal came to him and said, you know, I was in that jungle for a long time in the bushes, covered by dirt and grass and leaves, and I'm still kind of hot from that. So I think what would be nice is if you got me some sandalwood pulp and smeared that on my body, because sandalwood pulp has a cooling effect. So in order to get some sandalwood pulp, Madhavendra Puri realized he would have to go to Jagannath Puri to get the sandalwood pulp. It was not available at the local Walmart. So, and that was a long walk to Jagannath Puri. Still, he was determined to carry out the order of Gopal. So he made the arduous journey to Jagannath Puri, and because of his transcendental influence, he was able to get a large quantity of sandalwood and camphor to bring back to the Gopal deity. Now, along the way, he stopped in Ramuna, which is where Lord Chaitanya is narrating all this. And they have this nice arrangement in Ramuna for offering these pots, these clay pots of sweet rice to the Gopinath deity. And Madhavendra Puri saw that arrangement and he thought, wow, if I could just taste a little of that sweet rice, then I could reverse engineer it. And then I could offer that to my Gopal deity in Vrindavan. And then he thought, oh, I'm such a rascal, I wanted to taste the sweet rice. Let me just forget it. So he went into the marketplace there in the village, which was empty for the day, to take rest. And then that, in the middle of the night, the Pujari, or Gopal, or Gopinath, had a dream. And in the dream, the deity spoke to him and said, I have placed one pot of sweet rice behind my clothes. I've hidden it. And I want you to wake up and go get that pot of sweet rice and then take it to Madhavendra Puri and give it to him. The Pujari woke up and was like, well, what a far out dream. He thought, well, let me check. So he quickly took a bath, got dressed, and went to check the deity. And sure enough, there was a pot of sweet rice hidden behind the deity. It was like, wow, this is truth. This is not just eating too much sweet rice before you take rest and having weird dreams. So then he went to the bazaar and he called out, oh, Madhavendra Puri, please come out and accept this pot of sweet rice, which was stolen for you by Gopinath. And Madhavendra Puri heard that. He came out and he accepted the pot of sweet rice. And the Pujari said, oh, you are most fortunate that Gopinath has stolen this pot of sweet rice for you. You are a most fortunate person in the universe. And then Pujari went back home, Madhavendra Puri. He took the sweet rice and he washed the pot and he broke it into little pieces and he put it in his cloth. And every day he would eat a little piece of that earthen pot as prasad. And then he realized, you know, that Pujari is going to tell everybody and they're all going to throng around me and bother me. He's going to, make me famous by telling this. The Lord stole the sweet rice from me, so he booked early in the morning out of there and proceeded on his way to Jagannath Puri, where he managed to, through his transcendental influence, get the sandalwood, which was tightly controlled by the government as a commodity that's used in the deity worship, and the camphor. And then he got 2 Brahmin assistants to help him carry it, because it's a big, heavy load. And he got the necessary release papers from the government. And then he left Jagannath Puri and proceeded back to Remuna on his return journey. And then he stopped for the night in Remuna, got some more sweet rice apparently. And then he took rest. And then he had another dream. And in that dream, his Gopal deity, Govardhan Dari, the Gopal deity who is now Srinathji in Nathdwar, said to him in a dream, he said, this is a very long journey from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri and back on foot, taking many, many, many months. And he said, now you're getting old. And he said, actually, Gopinath and myself, Gopalji, we are not different. We are Krishna. This is the same Krishna. So you arrange to have the sandalwood pulp ground and mixed with the camphor and apply on the body of Gopinathji. And then I will get relief from my overheated condition here in Vrindavan. Madhavendra Puri woke up. It's like, wow, Krishna keeps coming to me in dreams and telling me all this stuff. What can I do? I have to follow his orders. So he engaged those 2 brahmanas in every day grinding the sandalwood pulp and the camphor, because they had a large quantity, and it was being offered to the deity every day. And then he even arranged, even though he was a sannyasi with no income, he arranged to, Prabhupada explains in there, how he paid the salaries of those brahmanas to do that service of grinding the sandalwood pulp. And apparently, from what I can tell from my research, he never returned to Vrindavan. And they have there in Remuna his samadhi and his sandals, and he's worshipped there. Did you ever go to Remuna? No. So I heard a story. Some devotees from New York ISKCON, 55th Street, the big fired up Kirtaniers and Sankirtan devotees. One year in the 70s, they went to India. They went to Jagannath Puri and they decided to hire a jeep and drive to Remuna to get some sweet rice from Gopinath. And so they came there and they had this big kirtan in the temple of Gopinath. And the local pujaris and the pandas, the priests, were astonished at these white and black skinned Vaishnavas from America and their great kirtan. And they brought out this sweet rice of Gopinath to give to the devotees. I believe they have it in like 1 liter pots. And then usually the pilgrims, they take a little of the sweet rice. But these New York devotees, each one was drinking an entire liter pot. And they were thus even further astonished that these must be great devotees, because no one can consume that much sweet rice from Gopinath. An ordinary person can't do that. These must be empowered devotees. Empowered devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chanting Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. They had never seen such Vaishnavas. And they were truly astonished. So that is one story of ISKCON devotees visiting the Ramuna temple. So apparently Madhavendra Puri stayed there in Ramuna. And this would have been sometime in the 1480s. And then he left the planet in the year 1490. So this is just a little taste and summary of the pastimes of Sri Madhavendra Puri. There's more, but we'll save that for another time. And we will ask for any questions, comments, realizations, or further understanding of the glories of Madhavendra Puri from our gathered audience today. Yes.
My question is just really simple. Is the deity in Phoenix, is he also like Srinathji?
Srinathji,
Yeah.
one arm up, one arm down.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I forgot. I did try to go to Ramuna. We went actually with Badri Narayan Swami, and we got there. It was kind of late, and they said you can't come in the temple unless you sign a paper that says you're Hindu. And so we said, okay, we'll sign a paper that says we're Hindu. Said, okay, well, you have to go to the post office and get the paper, then go over to the police station. So we went to the post office and it was closed. And so then we ended up just circumambulating the temple. And from outside, you can actually see the deity like really far away. But it was kind of sad because, we circumambulated the outside of the temple and it just smelled like urine. So people would come and they would just pass urine on that sacred place. So,
Go figure.
we weren't allowed in because we didn't sign the paper, but others were desecrating it.
Yes, in India, they sometimes it's described that the procedures and rules and regulations are a Byzantine bureaucracy that could bewilder even the most sane and self-controlled person. And it reminds me of a joke from the Dasarath Suttas, the Vaishnava joke book. Like, how many devotees does it take to change a light bulb? There's one devotee to unscrew the light bulb from the fixture, and then tell the temple commander that we need a new light bulb, who then goes to the temple treasurer and says, we need Lakshmi for the light bulb. So he gets the Lakshmi, and then he goes to another devotee who's in charge of the vehicles. I need the key to the vehicle to go to the hardware store and get the light bulb. Then the devotee gives him the key to the vehicle, and he goes to the vehicle and he sees there's no gas in the vehicle. This actually happened to me in New York one time, in New York City, in Manhattan, where they had the vehicles in the garage and they finally get the key to go, there's no gas in the vehicle, and there's no key to the locking gas cap. Because it's New York City, you have to have a lock on the gas cap. Anyway, I went through this whole thing. Then he has to go back to the treasurer to get Lakshmi from the treasurer to get the gas, to get money for the gas. So in this way, there's this whole extended explanation of how many devotees it takes to change a light bulb. All right, any other questions, comments, or realizations? Yes, sir.
Somewhere in Indrajuna Maharaj's research, which he mentions a lot in his lectures. I have to find the place where he gets it from, but he says that the Sarupya of Sri Madhavendra Puri is that of a desire tree, of a kalpavriksha tree in Vrindavan, and that he is presiding over the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in that way. And Indrajuna Maharaj brings that up a lot in his lectures. But to the point that, everybody's thinking, Madhavendra Puri had Mahabhav and was the first person to, exhibit Mahabhav, and thinking, how high it is to be just a tree in Vrindavan, that he's showing that Mahabhav. So, yeah.
Yes, Indrajuna Maharaj. knows many things that the rest of us have to hear from him to understand. But he also has a research team that plumbs the depth of the Vrindavan Research Institute library and all the texts contained therein. All right, anyone else? All right. Oh, yes? Until the last second.
Yeah, I was like, should I say this? Should I not? But I got because you had mentioned, the story of the New York devotees that went to this temple and they were eating a ton of sweet rice, and it reminded me of a time when I was sitting in the temple. We were all taking prasadam, and some Hindus came in, and they came in to take darshan like they normally do, and they sat down for a minute, and then they got up and said, "Can we take just a little bit of prasadam?" And we said, "Yes." And they just got a cup and put some chili in it. And then they walked off. And I asked Shruti Sagar, who was there at the time, why do they always come in and take such little amounts of prasadam? We were like so shocked. And he said, it's because like they don't eat it every day, like for a meal like we do. They only see it as something you take when you come to the temple in small amounts.
Yes, just like a little tiny drop of
Yeah.
mercy. But we know from Chaitanya Charitamrita that the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were not accustomed to taking prasadam in small amounts.
No way.
And when Lord Chaitanya appeared, he's about 7 feet tall, and he had very large hands, and he would serve the devotees prasadam with his hand. And with his hand, he could put as much prasadam on one plate that 10 people could eat. But that was for that one devotee's plate. So the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not accustomed to taking prasadam in small quantities. A tradition that ISKCON has continued on to this very day. And will continue on till the future. A principle established by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Sri Madhavendra Puri ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You're going to notice that I loaded up the picture of that Jesus.